Welcome to Beers and Buckets, the only podcast that discusses basketball and brews at the same time. We are part of the Basketball Podcast Network, where you can find the latest on the NBA and NCAA. I'm your host, Connor Caldwell. You can find me on Twitter at Connor J. Caldwell. And as always, I'm joined by the big blue demon deacon himself, Dowell Harmon. You can find Dowell on Twitter at do_Well_Harmon. And for a special appearance, first-time appearance on the podcast, we have Max Thomas. At one point, a Mississippi State attendee. At one point, this man could tear apart a football field, probably still can. And
Yes,
Max, how you doing tonight, man? Introduce yourself.
Man, I'm Max Thomas. I'm doing great. Man, you kind of wrapped it up. You had the whole the shindig going down. No, I'm honored to be on this podcast. I'm excited to try some, drinks, review it, but also talk about, some Canes basketball. So, yeah.
Yes, Max is a notable Miami Hurricanes fan. Been that way since I've known him, which has been almost 10 years now, if not longer. So props to him. Unfortunately, he's also a Patriots fan, and I don't know what other random teams he likes. But
I like the
either
Magic.
way, let's get into it. You like the Magic. That's fair. That's something we can agree upon.
Also very random.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Before we talk any basketball, let's get into the beer side of things. So tonight I'm drinking Coppertail Brewing Florida Weiss Peaches. So it has a white peach, yellow peach, and apricot, however you want to call it. This is a 16 ounce, 5%. And where is it from? It's from Tampa, Florida. It's a sour. It's a fruited Berliner Weiss and 3.69 on Untapped, 0 IBUs. So let me give it a sip. Not as good as the sour ale I did last week. Still pretty good though. Definitely not as sour as the sour ale I had last week. But the peaches are really nice. I honestly picked it because it's a Florida beer, and we have a potential all Florida national title game in this Final Four. So
that's crazy.
I went with my gut there. So
my stepdad was joking that they need to just have it at some random high school gym that's like in between Boca and Florida and Miami, just
right in the middle.
Yeah, that would be great. Or honestly, like put it in. I think it's perfect actually where it's at, because they're 51 minutes away from each other. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Crazy.
I'm gonna compare this to Jim Larrañaga, because why not? Shout out to Jim Larrañaga.
So the beer's old, is what you're saying?
No, but I have a better joke that I'll save for later.
Okay.
Okay.
Dal, you said you don't have a beer tonight?
No, I'll do 2 beers next time to make up for it. Got a little injured playing basketball yesterday. Went to just go shoot basketball. Ended up playing. Honestly, didn't stretch before it, which is a stupid thing. But I was just like going for a rebound and pushed off with my foot, and definitely messed up something in my foot. So walking was a little rough today when I was supposed to go to the store, so I didn't. So I'll do 2 beer reviews next time to make up for it.
Sounds good.
2 beers. 2 beers. Okay.
Max, what you drinking tonight?
Man, so beer's good, all right? But I got from the best gas station in the world, Speedway. No, not Speedway. It's Racetrack. Sorry, Racetrack. It is a cocktail in a can called Sex on the Beach. I have not had this. It just looked good. It is 10% alcohol. It says a flawless mix of orange, peach, and cranberry. Better than you know what. So I haven't tried this yet. I'm excited. I'm going to put it, after I drink it, hopefully a 10 on the Max scale for, I like fruity stuff, guys. I'm not okay. So pause. But I like, I like, so I'm going to.
You like the crushable drinks in life. It's okay.
Yeah.
As you should.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Like an old white woman.
Wow. Do I have to? I can compare it to somebody.
Yeah, we typically compare it to something basketball, but compare it to whatever you want.
Man, I got you.
Is it the U back in the 80s?
Back in the 80s, I'm telling you, they did not care. Just walked around and did this is good. Hey, if you guys haven't had it, Racetrack, Sex on the Beach. If you need something sweet and Gonna have
And
a great
10%
time.
alcohol.
10% alcohol. Go get that.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so let's get into the basketball side of beers and buckets because that's why people are typically tuning in. Second weekend of the NCAA tournament, and again, incredible. This is shaping up to be one of the better tournaments that at least I've seen in my lifetime. Despite the fact that there's been only one overtime game, which is crazy, 0 actual buzzer beaters, we still have incredible results to show for it in this tournament. So let's talk Thursday. Speaking of the one overtime game, K-State over Michigan State was the first and only overtime game of the tournament so far. Talk about it. Let me hear it. What'd you guys think of it?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's the first overtime game. Only overtime game. It's not like Kansas State needs any overtime to score either. I feel like if the Kentucky game wasn't Jalen Knowles' like breakout game, kind of where he kind of established that he was there, this was definitely the game where you can do it for one game and it's fine. Doing it for a second game in a row is nuts.
Talking about Marquise Noel?
Yeah. What?
You said Jalen Noel.
That's
I
different guy. Marquise Noel. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm taking a play out of John Calipari's book and not knowing his name, and everyone's
just the little guy.
Yeah, the little guy.
No, the little guy. No, he was
Little
filthy. He was filthy, especially when he was walking down the court and IT was sitting there. Is that the game? He's walking. He said, "Watch this." He threw it to Keontae Johnson.
He was like fake arguing, maybe real arguing with Jerome Tang, and just like waving him off, and then just tossed it to Keontae Johnson. Yeah,
it was filthy.
that was something. Also, just it seemed like, and Max, we talked about this in our group chat. It just seemed like Michigan State had like 3 or 4 good looks to shoot from 3, they passed it up to try and get a better one, but there just wasn't a better look than what, like Joey Hauser 2 feet behind the 3-point line. That's a good look. Like I don't care if somebody's running
open,
yeah,
exactly.
And he had enough space to get that shot off, so I don't know why he didn't take it. But the fix is in, guys. Buffalo Wild Wings running their promotion for free 6 free boneless wings when games go into overtime, and there's only been 1 in this tournament. That is a fix. That is just 100% a fix to try people to come to their games. They're literally, you remember the commercials showing Buffalo Wild Wings using officials to fix games? Like way back in the early 2010s. That was literally that was it right there. But yeah, so that was a fun game. Marquise Noel did an amazing job setting an NCAA tournament record for most assists in a game with 20. Absolutely insane. And then you had a very opposite effect of the game, which is UConn just absolutely smoked some Arkansas Woo Pigs. That was tough.
It's funny you say that, like, a bunch of these games have been great. No overtime, or other than that, the Michigan State game, no overtime games, but everything has been super close. And then you just got to exclude UConn from that because they just they've blown everyone out. Their games aren't even like fun. Like I remember this is jumping ahead, but like for the Gonzaga game, I tuned in like 5 minutes after that game started, and it wasn't even a game. So UConn has been a wagon. Connor, you kind of poo-pooed them whenever I talked about them before.
Which is funny because I was so high on them before the season started.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just me. That's honestly, when we were talking about it, it's just me hoping that they would just crap the bed because
that's fair.
I don't want to see another UConn title.
Feel that.
They're putting a nail in the coffin of like the peak too early because they were super good at the beginning of the year. Kind of went through a little bit of transition, and now they are back. And so,
they started off conference play with like 5 straight losses or something like that. Like through 10 games of conference play, they were 500. That's insane. That the fact that they did that. So that was a crazy game. Max, did you watch any of that game?
Man, the Arkansas game, I was at work, and the funny thing was somebody in our cabanas was watching it, and I came over. I'm like, "You need any time?" Oh, Arkansas's losing? What? I was like, "Oh, the UConn? Oh," because I thought UConn. I'll be honest with you. I thought they were going to get to the Elite Eight, get eliminated. I did not think they were going to beat Arkansas, and I was wrong. And I'm sorry, UConn fans out there, if you're listening, I was very wrong because I don't like to remember UConn was like Shabazz Napier area, like I watched them beat Kentucky because my mom, she's from Lexington, well, Ashland. And we were sitting all in the room watching that, and that kid was just bucket. Beat Kentucky. And I remember the whole family on my mom's side, oh, man, this is a fast guy, mama, this, that. And I was like, yeah, I never liked UConn after that. The Huskies, disgusting. But they're disgusting right now. Like, they're taking off. As you said, with the Gonzaga game, yeah, I turned it off, right? I went to the movies, actually.
Oh, man.
Arkansas, a team that has a lot of ISO scores, but still is a team that scores a bunch normally. Only 0.93 points per possession and only 7 assists the entire game. So they made, 20 shots on just 7 assists. Whenever you can do that as a defense, it's completely unfair.
Yeah. And I on the preview episode last week talking about it, I said if Anthony Black and Nick Smith had big games, then I think Arkansas takes it. Clearly, that's not the case. I think they let those guys do whatever they wanted to, and they shut down the real problem that beat Kansas was Devo Davis. Devo Davis had a terrible game that game.
3 points, 0 for 7 from 2-point, 1 for 3 from 3. That's it.
So talent is huge, and you want to collect the best talent. But if you could shut down a team's X factor, obviously you're going to win a lot more games let the talent feast.
Let's not act like Connecticut doesn't have multiple NBA draft picks. And
100%. I'm not saying that they aren't talented. I'm just saying for their game plan, they said we are going to attack a Devo Davis. We're going to make him have to beat us somehow. Let the other guys feast because it's proven. I mean, he's the one that beat Kansas almost single-handedly if you watch that game. So absolutely crazy. Then we had not really surprise. I mean, it was a little bit, but if you've watched basketball all season, you wouldn't be surprised by this FAU team, but they beat the Volunteers. It's not a surprise to me because of how good and how balanced FAU is versus how unbalanced Tennessee is. Tennessee's defense, very good, but their offense was just so stagnant. And it showed in this game. The first half of them, like that, my dad was even saying it's like it almost felt like two fighters feeling each other out. And then the second half, FAU, Dusty May just put on a coaching clinic and absolutely just coached the crap out of Rick Barnes in that game. So, what do you guys think of that?
Shocking. Rick Barnes in March finds a way to lose to a very much inferior team.
I mean, did you see them run mesh? They ran legit. Mesh concept.
Also, I was going to ask that. Where did that come from? That Kansas State has done it now. Florida Atlantic did it. Like, where did this all is this a trend?
Football plays.
Yeah. You had to get open, man. You know, if they come down attack, somebody's going to be above it.
Running option routes,
so smart.
Stick. Yeah.
the way they lined up on the baseline, I was like, no way they're going to form a trip. What?
Trips 11 personnel.
Exactly. But I mean, no, I think they're dominant. I think they want to win. I mean, I wasn't cheering for them. I was like, FAU, man, come on. Okay, you beat it. FDU. All right. I didn't like how he dunked it at the end. I was like, come on. But when they beat Tennessee, I was like, all right, man, these guys want it. Like it was a battle. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. Fun game. And like I said, Dusty May, we're going to talk about him a little bit in winners and losers, but he is absolutely just every win that he gets. Obviously now at this point, he's just playing with house money because he could probably go anywhere that has an open position and land it and do well. It looks like. And then we had Gonzaga over UCLA. Probably, I would say, is arguably better than the Kansas State, Michigan State game. I don't know. What do you guys think? It just seemed to it just seemed more fun to me.
It was. It definitely felt like a rivalry game. Like back when it was the bubble with Jalen Suggs. Like that.
Yeah, I thought we would see a repeat of that, and we ended up doing almost that same thing.
Exactly.
Almost the same spot too. Pretty close to it. Julian Strother with that shot was absolutely just like, the South Park meme with the guys and the guy in the wheelbarrow, just like the way he was walking off the court. Incredible game though. Back and forth all over. Like at one point, UCLA had a double-digit lead on Gonzaga, and then just I don't know what happened. What happened? Do you think, Dowell, in that game?
And this was definitely a tale of if like we said, when I know you tweeted this out, we should go to 10-minute quarters, but this was a tale of the first and third quarter. So UCLA jumped out to a 29-21 lead after the first 10 minutes, but then Gonzaga pretty much made that back up and more in the first 10 minutes of the second half, kind of get back on a little bit of level footing. But yeah, the win expectancy chart on this, on Ken Palm's like box score thing is wild because it swings almost down to where you're like 90% UCLA at halftime, then starts to swing back up, gets back to essentially about even by the end of the third quarter there. And then there's a huge jump towards the very end with what's that score there? I mean, you go from like 97, 98% Gonzaga win all the way down to 36% chance for Gonzaga to win, and then obviously you get the buzzer beater. Almost buzzer beater.
Almost buzzer beater, yeah. No, that Amari Bailey shot, he had a terrific first half. It's kind of quiet in the second half, and then came out, hit that huge shot with like 7 seconds left.
Yeah.
And it just seems so poetic. It's like one of those like huge first half was kind of quiet, huge shot to end the game. You're the champion there.
It's the Marcus Page shot from the UNC game when when Villanova hit the shot where
it was the same sequence.
That crazy one, and then John Jenkins goes down and
same sequence. So that was fun. So yeah, let's move on to Friday. Then we had San Diego State over Bama. And this is just one of those. If you were on Twitter at all, there was a lot of discussion about this game and the shot chart with this game. Modern offense discourse is just so fun around this game. But really, what we all love in college basketball is watching a just tough defense. That's why we tune into college basketball, right? And that's what happened with this game. They dared Alabama to outshoot them. They protected the rim, had 8 blocks. Just what could Bama do? Javon Quinterly, I saw him go up twice and got blocked twice in a row in this game. Like there was nothing inside easy for Bama. What do you guys think of this game?
Shoot, I mean, as it said on the game cast, did you see where all the points were scored for San Diego in the paint? As you see
everywhere,
everywhere. And Bama, when I was watching them for like, I don't really watch college basketball. Like I try to, but like when I was watching this, I was like, man, Bama, like they could shoot the threes, they could hit the 7-footers outside, but they couldn't make it. Like they were, as you said, defense wise, San Diego State, like that team was just chemistry. They were like, yeah, we'll play big boy ball. Like you're not gonna score on us, and it was crazy.
Yeah, cool to see JD Allen-D, this is his third school now. He had 12 points, second leading scorer for San Diego State, but this was definitely the Darion Trammell game. I know we were talking, Connor, and this is a team that I've seen in person that normally this team goes as Matt Bradley's able to score, but he was 2 for 7 from 2, 0 for 2 from 3, only 2 free throws. So honestly, if you would have told me beforehand that Alabama was going to take 27 threes and that Matt Bradley was only going to score 6 points, I would have thought this was going to be a blowout. But going 3 for 27 is a perfect way to lose. And like you said, they couldn't score anything at the rim either. Nathan Mensah had, I think, 5 blocks. He was a monster.
5 of their 8 team total blocks. So that's pretty crazy. Like you said, Matt Bradley, he's the guy that San Diego State's had all season. Super reliable, just a bucket getter for them. Was just absolutely ice cold this whole game until the very end. I don't think he had like almost any points until like the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game, and then he started to score and turn things around there.
Apparently the key to this tournament is just be the shortest dude on the court, because we have Marquise Noel just going off, Darion Trammell at 5'10", only guy under 6 foot on both of these teams. He was definitely the MVP of this one.
So that means if Kentucky had played Xavier Wheeler, we would have won the tournament.
Exactly.
Right? All right. Then we had Creighton over Princeton on Friday. This wasn't too surprising. I just think the clock struck midnight on the Cinderella team, but it was still a crazy run, especially the way that they dismantled some teams in this tournament. Creighton just had some ballers, and it showed even in that game that on Sunday. But yeah, this was a fun game too. I didn't watch a whole lot of it. Is there anything you guys want to add to this game?
Yeah, I mean they kept it close for the first half.
They did, yeah.
Had two dudes score over 20 points, just didn't get enough from kind of the supporting cast there. The rest of the team had 75, and they had two guys score 50. So you get that. You should be able to at least do it, like make a little bit more damage. But you have two of your other starters only go for 4 points. Just like you said, I feel like this happens a lot, and it's kind of surprising because now we have FAU going to the Final Four, so their luck kind of hasn't run out yet. But a lot of times you see this where you get a team that upsets a couple teams they probably shouldn't be, but then it's just so hard to string together six wins in a row. And
it's like very reminiscent of Florida Gulf Coast in 2013.
Exactly.
And the same vibes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. Then we'll talk about the U, our boy Max. Miami slayed the Houston Giant. The Houston Giant that's been number one or near in the top three all season long. And it just turns out a better offense beats a very stout and good defense. So what do you guys think of this game?
I loved every minute of it. Let me tell you what.
This was my favorite matchup. If there was going to be one matchup in the tournament that I wanted to see, it was Marcus Sasser against Nigel Pack and Isaiah Wong and Norshad Amir versus Jarris Walker. This game was so much fun to watch, man.
Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible matchup. We even talked about this like super late the other night, Dowell. And we're just like, you know what? I even said, I think the winner of this game is going to be in the title. And I still believe that. But it's just crazy. So yeah, this was a fun game for sure. And then we had Texas taking down Xavier. Rodney Terry is a class act, man. I respect the heck out of this guy for what he has had to go through personally, what the team has had to go through to go in and beat Sean Miller Xavier team the way they did. And that team, by the way, is also going to be returning a bunch of those guys. Xavier is, so they're going to be just as good, if not better, next season. Just one incredible game as well. That one I watched a little bit of, kind of recapped more just by watching box scores and highlights and stuff. What did you guys think of it?
Well, I didn't watch it. It was just Xavier, and I'll be honest. I'm like Xavier, like I see them every year in the bracket, and like they have that edge. Like they're gonna win the first two, and then they play some big team like Texas. I mean, the Longhorns, Bishop. Who else was on that team? Like they were just filthy. And I mean,
Serge Rice had a good game.
Rice had a great game.
Double digits from 5 different guys.
Yeah. Marcus Carr had a solid game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 18.
He's had a quietly good season after last year, which was kind of a poo-poo season. But all around Texas doing a good job. But then let's move on to Saturday.
Well, I was going to say the biggest thing, and we can talk about it in the next game because it really applies more to the next game than this one.
That's fine.
But this is the game where Dylan Disu going out really hurt them. He only played 2 minutes. 100%. And obviously they still were able to pull this game out, but that loomed large for the last game. Also, definitely saw a little bit of and it's easy to say whenever you're up by so much, but Xavier ended up winning the final 10 minutes of this game, 28-16. So that kind of carried over into the next game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have Saturday, FAU shocked one of the hotter teams of the tournament in Kansas State. It turns out they just let Marquise Noel feast and locked everyone down, specifically Keontae George, and that was a good strategy. It seemed to pay off for them pretty well. Did you guys watch this game at all?
Yeah, my boy Ish Masood tried to get him the ball at least to start the offense on that last play, and he had a horrible turnover after putting a knife through my heart in the Kentucky game with his super long three. Hated to see that he was kind of one of the guys to mess up as they were trying to close out this game.
Yeah.
How many points did he have?
Who, Noel?
No, not Noel. The other guy, the Ishmael.
Oh, Masood. He only had 5.
See,
only played 14 minutes.
Yeah, no, that game. I mean, as you said, Noel, he was eating. And I
Wolf
think
went for 30 that game. That's crazy.
when he came down the court, I think he should have took the last shot. I think he should have done a little double move, step back, and take it.
I was surprised he gave the ball up too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you were cooking the whole night. Like, I get it. You know, you're trying to be a team player, but there's some times where, like,
Yeah, you'd like him to be 6 for 12 instead of 5 for 11 from 3,
Yep.
like he ended up.
Yeah. You're okay with Noel taking that last shot the way he's got you to that point. Up, he had 30 points that game. Like, of course you're okay with that shot being taken.
Yeah.
And we've seen him knock down those almost 30-foot 3-pointers. Like,
easily.
Yeah. So, and then the last game of Saturday night, UConn dismantled Gonzaga. I don't personally believe this, but I want to have the conversation real quick. Is Mark Few's title window closing at Gonzaga?
No.
I just want to explore the possibilities of this conversation.
No. Why would it be?
When was the last time that they won?
They've never won a title.
Yeah. Are you kidding? Come on.
You think it's closed?
I think it might be like closing, like who he's on the Lakers now. What's his name? The
Rui Hachimura.
Yes, he was filthy at Gonzaga. He was filthy, and I thought they were going to go all the way and win. I mean, Jalen Suggs, right? Gonzaga thought they were going to win that too.
Personally, I think their absolute best shot was obviously the Jalen Suggs team. And funny that we talk about that. That was the only NCAA tournament where all the games were located in one region, one location, one gym.
Yeah.
So that definitely plays a factor into it. If they had a little bit, if they got to play out in the West Coast, they would, if they got to play in Las Vegas, that would have been a mostly Gonzaga crowd, there at those games. But unfortunately, that's not how it went. I don't think it's closed. But I look in losing when you had Drew Timme and you had like 4 or 5 shots with Drew Timme to win a title, and you get that as far as you get with him. I don't know who they replaced Drew Timme with, but he's been a staple of Gonzaga basketball for the last 4 years. I don't know if there's anybody else that's going to come in and take up that mantle to lead them to a title necessarily. But I mean, it's not like he's struggling to recruit there either, though.
Yeah, that's why I don't think that they're going to have any problems. Like, you still, I mean, Nolan Hickman and Hunter Salas both will be back. So you return them. Malachi Smith has another year. You lose receiver Bolton and Anton Watson. Strother might come back
too. That's the craziest part.
What?
He still has his COVID. He still has his 5th COVID year. He could stay if he wanted to.
How old is he?
He's got to be. I think he's 22, maybe 23.
22, yeah, my age. Well, that's crazy. I mean, shoot. Okay, he'll do good in the NBA, I think. I think he'll be a good draft pick. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be like the man. But
he's a good enough passer where he can carve out a role for himself in the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be Nikola Jokic or anything, but he will be fine.
Yeah.
So, like he's not going to go lottery. He's not going to go first round. He'll be a 2nd round pick and they'll be fine. At this point, he's going to make more money off of NIL next year than he would a 2nd round contract. So I said, run it back, stay one more year. You keep the core of your group together, recruit some. There's plenty of good options. Transfer portal we'll talk about, but I don't think that. Like I said, I don't personally believe this, but I've seen some conversation about it, so I just wanted to ask you guys and bring it up. And I'm sure people listening are probably saying yes or no, either way, how they feel about Gonzaga. At first, last year I couldn't stand Gonzaga. This year I didn't. I was indifferent about them. I was definitely rooting for them over UConn in that game, and just happened to hit the Connor curse.
I think people underrate how hard it is to just like make the Elite Eight every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and just because they've done it so consistently and not gone like teams like that, especially in college basketball where there's continuity, are the teams that end up breaking through. So everyone can you talk about a team and you're like, oh, they can't win the big game until they do. So obviously they still have to do it. So which is difficult, but teams like this that have been to a certain point and gotten stopped and kind of had that adversity the next year. Look at Virginia. After they got upset by the 16 seed, came back the next year and won. Not saying that Gonzaga is going to do that this year and kind of overcome all of it in one hurdle, but it's teams like this, like at a certain point, law of averages says that they're going to probably get one.
Yeah, I think since 2011, Gonzaga has the highest win percentage of all college basketball. So it's and I would say I would like to add in that they need to add an asterisk to that, or say like, I mean, it should really be against top 100 teams that they count that, because then, like there's some teams that Gonzaga plays, which is like, I think, to quote our friend Bradley Smith, Baja Blast Tech.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
But, like, you also, it's not their fault that they're in that conference.
No, but it's recently they've scheduled a really tough outer conference. So I'm not going to say recently, but like 2014 Gonzaga, 2015 Gonzaga wasn't out there scheduling, 4 top 50 teams in their non-conference. Their non-conference schedule was weaker before they started reaching out and branching out, and that's ultimately when they got better as a program, is when they started scheduling better teams. But that was like 2014, 2015, they weren't playing those things, and which is why they had the lower seeds like they did in the tournament back in those days.
Yeah, I mean, I think they get properly dinged for it. You don't need to ostracize their wins, in my opinion.
That's fair. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on. We spent enough time on Gonzaga. We got to move on. Sunday, San Diego State took on Creighton. That was a good game, a wild game, defensive, just absolute juggernaut. Creighton, it was a very hot team going into this game. San Diego State did what they did on defense, and the call at the end was the correct call. Officiating was wildly inconsistent, but you have to call a foul when you see a foul.
Yeah, there's in the rule book. In the rule book, it doesn't have timestamps for what the fouls are. The fouls don't change. Correct. I can see being more lenient on like kind of ticky tack stuff, but on literally a shot,
arm on him. Yeah.
Like, which an incredibly, not to like harp on the kid, because I'm sure that he is taking it harder and being harder on himself than he deserves to be, but like an incredibly lazy defensive effort from Nembhard on that play. Like all of the things you can do, should have just contested from behind and kind of like flew past him, like flew past his back rather than jumping into him. But I mean, you have to call the foul.
Yeah, you have to call the foul. I think what people were frustrated about, and just like in the Super Bowl this year, it's the inconsistency in officiating. When like if you called that, then you should have called that earlier, but they weren't calling it earlier. This is this problem when you have human refs officiating. They're humans; they make errors. I don't think there was a fix or anything, because I promise you, they're not fixing it for San Diego State. I guarantee you that. This is not a game where they're trying to fix anything. If anything, the NCAA is trying to cook up something now to fix in where we get all blue bloods in the Final Four next year, because the ratings are not going to be great this year, despite me personally loving the Final Four that we got this year. And then Miami over Texas. Miami could have folded like 5 times in this game, and that's just incredible that they the resiliency in that. What do you guys think of this game?
Man, I loved it. At first I was worried. I was talking to my friend AJ, and he was like, called me up, and mind you, AJ's a Florida Gator fan, and he's like, I got my Texas jersey on. He's like, today is gonna be the day where you guys lose, and I said, all right, just wait, man, just wait. And I was looking at the score, and I was like, Lord have mercy, we are down. But then I realized, because if you looked at the Houston game, like they played decent in the first half. But in the second half, Miami they took off. So I was like, okay, we're a second half team. We can – and, I mean, shoot, Miller, 27 points, 7 for 7.
And 13 for 13 from the line, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and – mind you, which I thought was cool before we hopped on, I looked that the past 2 games, the whole starting 5 has been in double digits for points.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like, so there was just not one guy, everybody was cooking.
Everybody was, yeah.
I think it was probably like with 5 minutes into the first half or second half maybe. I was like, man, I just hope Miami can go on a little bit of run to make this a game, because at that point it was like a 15-point game, something like that. And I was like, man, I just want them to make it close, because I just want a good game. Like I was cheering for Miami, because I mean we've been a fan of this backcourt for a while, but I was like, man, just make it a game so that we can have something interesting in it, not just kind of like cruise to a blowout. and then they started that 13-2 run that they
Yep.
had in like the span of 3 minutes, and I was like, oh, like
It's a game.
they're not just making this a game, like they're here to like potentially win this, and then just from there they took off. I was listening to the Game Theory podcast with Sam Vicini, and he was talking about Jordan Miller, that this game, that he had kind of been trending this way the entire season, but Jordan Miller went from being their most important player, maybe not their best, kind of early in the season.
Their X factor, yeah.
That, like, he is their best player. They have Pack and Wong that are good kind of heat check guys, but Miller is, they go as Jordan Miller goes, and
it's
he was going
UConn
on Sunday.
UConn's the same way with Jordan Hawkins. Like
Yes.
Sonogo and Newton are fantastic players. The emergence of Jordan Hawkins is really taking them to the next level.
Yep.
100% agree. Also, I just want to point out that Jim Boeheim is a jerk Jim Larrañaga variant from the worst timeline.
Yes. Both are super old, but Larrañaga is actually cool, and Boeheim's
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's take a break and then we'll move on to our winners and losers. Ready for the underdogs, the upsets, and the unbelievable action from DraftKings Sportsbook? The biggest tournament in college basketball is here. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 in college hoops and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all customers can score a no-sweat bet during round 1 and 2 of the tournament. Go to the app, opt in, and place a no-sweat bet this weekend. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus back up to $10. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. All right, winners and losers from the second weekend, so Sweet 16 and Elite 8. We'll start with the winners because it's more fun. And this, again, is more opinion-based and than anything. It's not legitimate winners or losers, but some of them are. Mid-majors, our first winner for the Sweet 16 Elite 8 weekend, because we got 2 of them in the Final Four.
All right.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah, never mind. That you answered my question, because I was going to ask, are we considering UConn a mid-major? Because I got yelled at in the group chat for saying that a Big East team was a mid-major, and I was like, well, it's not Power 5. And they're like, it's not Power 6. So
they're Power 6. So I'll say Power 6 with them and say but also not really, because San Diego State's joined the Pac-12. That's inevitable. And then you have FAU, who is joining the American. So kind of crazy, but all around mid-majors, major dub for them in this tournament. Yeah. The state of Florida, specifically Southern Florida, for once. That's a winner in my book.
You'll be underwater in 10 years, so you might as well take advantage of it now.
I'll be underwater. Let me tell you. The ratings...
Boca Raton and Coral Gables are less than an hour away from each other. Like you said, Dowell, they should just, if it ends up being those 2 in the title game, they should just meet and they should have to drive to Gainesville, and we'll just play the game in the Tech Center or whatever.
Or just come somewhere at least, because Houston, I'm just be honest with you, Florida has just beat 2 Texas teams. So why are we gonna go? Why are we going to Houston? You can come back. You can move it down. Come to Orlando, actually. That's the midpoint. You can put it right in Orlando. Come to Amway.
Maybe. Have a game in Key West. That would be pretty wild.
You just need to do something in Frat Lottie and just have it at some random place there, because that's right in the middle.
Just bring your own Borg, because you don't take drinks from frats in Miami at all.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and then Dusty May and Rodney Terry, I put these 2 together because they're absolutely getting a huge contract after this tournament, and it started with this weekend. Despite Rodney Terry losing on Sunday, Dusty May has continued on. He has that contract lined up for when FAU loses. He's not staying there. And Rodney Terry, I think it was announced yesterday or maybe this morning, that he is receiving a contract from Texas.
Yep.
don't know about like his win percentage when he was a head coach, not interim coach, but when he's a head coach, is still 0.513. So still not great, still around 500, but
yeah, he was. I mean, he was coaching some like I don't know who's doing a lot with those UTEP teams that he took over, and Fresno State. I mean, he took them from being they were in. So he took over in 2012 at Fresno, and they were 179th in KenPom that year, and he was inside the top 100 in 17 and 18 before he left to go to UTEP. So, I mean,
also like he just learned. I think he just learned a lot under Chris Beard, and Chris Beard, absolute d-bag, but really good coach, especially defensively.
Yeah.
What I was more impressed with is how good this team was offensively, which is not a staple of Chris Beard teams. So that tells me more about the staff that Beard built and the staff that Rodney Terry maintained, and is probably going to keep. And I mean, they're keeping Ron Holland, and he's probably, from what I've heard, he's been the best player at McDonald's All-American game. So if he continues the trend of recruiting and can keep those guys and get those guys in, he should have no problem at Texas. So
I think the offensive side comes down more to the talent that they have accrued more than
that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I agree with that. Yeah. All right, losers of this weekend: SEC and Big 12. I think they both had 3 shots. Maybe SEC had 3 shots. Big East had 3 shots. They ended up getting 1 in there, and the Big 12 had 2, I think, from the Elite 8. Couldn't get them in there, so sorry, guys, you're a loser, but it's okay because SEC is still strong, but Big 12 is still strong. And like we've said on this podcast 50,000 times, the Final Four is incredibly hard to reach, and you have to be incredibly lucky, honestly. We could go back to all teams in the Final Four now and look at earlier in the tournament where FAU needed a timeout. They were down 1 to Memphis. They needed a timeout, and it should have been a jump ball. If you watch that, they didn't get the timeout. It should have been a jump ball. So just absolutely crazy. Losers of this tournament, number 2 loser is Modern Offenses Conversations. And I say this because there are more than one way to win a game, more than one way to lose a game. And it is
you think they're really a loser?
I think it's the losers are the loser. Like the people talking about it are the losers more so than the conversation.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah. It's
I feel like the Modern Offense is still like even there's like Modern Offense, and then there's the only threes and layups convo, and those are like
2 different things. Yeah.
Yeah. The threes and layups combo is definitely one, and it's the issue with applying a theoret like threes and layups make sense because on average points per possession are better on those 2 shots. Like those are the 2 most efficient shots. Yeah. But when you have a sample size of 60 possessions in a game, you can have a team go 3 for 27 like Alabama did, or whatever the 0 for 48 or whatever that the Rockets did in their Game 7 whenever they lost to the Warriors. Like in small sample sizes, the math doesn't always be mathin'.
No, my thing is, I think you should always have the plan A, plan B, plan C. If that's your niche, if that's your thing, is to go with threes and at the rim 2s, do it. But when those fail, you don't just keep doing it. Yeah. Like Bama was 11% from 3. 11%.
Yeah.
They were getting their shots blocked at the rim almost every other shot, it felt like. And if they weren't getting it, they were absolutely making it really hard to get their shot off at the rim, and it was not going in. They were under 32% from 2 on field goals. So if you look at the shot chart, and Max alluded to it, there were shots all over the place for San Diego State. Bama had the just 2 spots that they get their shots off, and there were a lot of misses in those. You're just like in football, you take what the defense can give you.
Exactly.
And I think in basketball, we think that's a bad thing, that the defense is giving you a long 2 shot. But shoot, somebody had mentioned that long 2s, free throw, like jumpers, whatever you want to call them, mid-range jumpers, they go in only 50 to 60% of the time, or they miss 50 to 60% of the time. Well, even if it's 50, or let's say 60, so your shots would have been 40 to 50% from the mid range. That's better than the 11% from three that they were getting, and the 32% from at the rim twos that they were getting. So my point is, like, just have a backup plan. You got to have a break glass in case of emergency. And I get that sometimes it got you there, but you can also just rely, like, don't eliminate part of the floor because the stats say that it's not a good shot. Like, if you have the right person to take it, take the right shot.
That's the issue, because defenses also know that you're not going to take mid ranges, so you can scheme up. I mean, it's just like if a team in football is only run or pass, where you don't have to respect the run at all. You can just throw 9 guys. We see it happen with Mississippi State a couple times every year, where teams just get back in zone, sit in those reads, and pick off 3 or 4 passes and
make you beat them off the run. Yeah.
Yep. And so it just makes you one-dimensional. And it's funny that the modern offense is supposed to make you not one-dimensional, because you are playing 4 out, 5 out. You have a ton of shooting, a ton of skill, but you end up like just putting yourself into another box if you commit too like heavily to the bit. Kind of.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You have to be versatile. Like, it's the biggest thing. Like, even in, like, my opinion with, like, music. Like, if you listen to one genre, like, I believe music can definitely, like, it connects. Now, we're not in basketball. I'm not talking basketball. But music connects a lot of people. And when you have the versatility of listening to different music, you can connect with different people, which is cool. But also, Mississippi State, you saw it well. RIP Coach Leach, great guy. They just kept throwing the ball. And as you said, when they drop back in zone, the SEC is you have to run, I formation, power football. You have to mix it up. You can't be always throwing the ball. You always have to have that balance. And Alabama didn't have that balance. They did not have that balance in that game.
Balance is 100% key. And that's why I really say that the people who are just so for threes and at the rim twos, that's why I say when modern offense is, because a true modern offense, like you said, Dowell, is a balanced offense. It's the right people taking the right shots. Noah Clowney, like him, I don't think he's the one that you want shooting a bunch of threes, to be honest with you, but either here or there. All right. And then this is an evergreen loser, unfortunately, but NCAA officiating they're a loser. You know what? They were going to be screwed on that. Creighton, San Diego State called no matter what. If they didn't call it, San Diego State would have been pissed. They called it. Creighton's pissed. It was a lose-lose situation for them, but they made the right call.
Yes.
So, all right.
I love when people complain about, especially to the consistency piece, like, oh, you were bad at calling what you should have called earlier, so you should continue to make more bad calls. Like, what? Like, this is the, like, 2 wrongs don't make a right kind of thing. Like, you shouldn't just continue to make bad calls. Just make right calls from the beginning, and that's the solution.
I really love what EuroLeague is doing. They are finding refs. They are making refs. They are suspending refs games for when they miss calls. It's just a way. It's just a form of accountability.
The issue, as always, with the NCAA is the NCAA has no power, and so, like,
they want to go after kids for getting a little money in their pocket versus the grown adults that are just bad at their jobs that continue to dictate the outcome, the results of their product. Just absolutely crazy. All right, let's move on to the Final Four preview here. So, first game on Saturday, we have FAU taking on San Diego State. San Diego State leads the series all time with it's 2-0 all time. So the first 2 times they met, 2000, 2002. Max was 1 and 3 years old in those games.
I was.
San Diego State is favored by 1.5 here in this game, and Ken Pom says that they're going to win 67-66. What do you guys think about this game?
Man, I think I'll tell you right now, FAU is going to shock. I think they're going to pull out a win. I think they're on a hot streak, and it's only up from here. I really do. I mean, as much as you see San Diego State's team and they played together, they're a little older team. They know how to play. I think that FAU is not Alabama, first of all. They can go to the rim. They'll play it. They'll be like, oh, if you want to give me looks, I'm going to take the looks. They're not going to just be shooting threes, throwing it up. I think they're going to get to it, play big boy basketball, and I think they're going to come up and they're going to go to the championship game.
What do you think, Dowell?
My only thing is we just saw SDSU have a beautiful game plan for a team that super relies on threes in Alabama, and FAU is they just score predominantly from three. They're 25th in the country in percentage of points from three and in the 300s in both two-pointers and free throws. FAU doesn't really get to the line, and SDSU is second in the country in three-point percentage on defense. So that's the only thing that makes me nervous. FAU's defense should be able to hold up just fine in this. But the game plans we've seen from San Diego State to stop teams that are big on shooting threes, I think makes me lean a little bit towards the Aztecs, but I'm also a little biased. So
a little bit. And that's okay. If we didn't have a bias, what fun would it be, right?
Exactly.
Let me throw out some stats for you here. San Diego State, they are on KenPom the number 4 team in adjusted efficiency on defense, and they are number 2 in 3-point percentage defense, right?
Yep.
Now, FAU has faced the number 1 team in adjusted efficiency and the number 1 team in 3-point percentage defense. Do you know what team that is?
Tennessee.
Correct. So I think offensively, and this is the thing, defense does travel, and we've talked about that a lot. But I think offensively, I like the matchup here. It's a strength-on-strength matchup. The difference between these two teams, and when I say these two, I'm talking actually San Diego State and Tennessee, is Tennessee actually had technically a better offense, surprisingly, according to KenPom and adjusted efficiency, than San Diego State. So a difference of 8 points, or ranking in eight spots there. 75 in offense for San Diego State, and then 67 for.
The difference there is that's an offense with Zakai Ziegler on the team for the majority of the year.
That's fair. But they also, I felt like, looked better without Zakai Ziegler, to be honest with you. But either way, this is I think it comes down to San Diego State's ability to get buckets on Florida Atlantic, because Florida Atlantic is a very balanced team. They are 29th in defense and adjusted efficiency, 24th in offense. So there's a lot of balance there. They're really good they're 15th in effective field goal percentage. So they're going to make San Diego State take tough shots. So I like the matchup here. I think it's more of a coin flip than anything, to be honest with you. And it should be a fun one. I'm going to go with FAU because I'm just going to ride that Cinderella bias, but also last year my brother did a tour of FAU and bought a hat. And so if you want your team to go to the Final Four, just schedule a tour. I'll go with you, and they will be guaranteed to make the tournament next year in the Final Four. So do that with what you will. But yeah, this should be a fun game all around. And I think obviously, like, that at this point there's 4 teams left. They're all title contenders at this point. But both of these teams are really strong, and I could see them winning a title. So, and with the next game, obviously, Miami versus UConn, they have faced only one other time, and that was in 2002. The final score is disgusting. It looks like a football score. Miami won 48-14.
I wondered if you typoed that and it was supposed to be 48-41.
Nope. That was when I looked it up, it could be the wrong one, but it's definitely they've only met one other time. So that you might have to fact check me on that.
Gross.
Yeah, disgusting. But either way, UConn is favored by 5.5. KenPom says UConn 80-73.
Bring
what
it.
are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Bring
Mac?
it. Let me tell you what. That defense is going to be tough. All right? Powerhouse. When they played Gonzaga, that defense was good. But these past games, man, watching Miami, they have the will to win. I mean, Texas last week. I mean, when was it? Sunday? Sunday. I didn't think I was really worried that we were going to lose, and then just to see them the second half climb right back in, as you said, a 13-2 run in 3 minutes. If they could play how they were playing the past two games, and just make their shots, be smart with the ball, play big boy basketball, I think they'll be fine. I think
All
they're
right,
just
yeah,
gonna.
Connor, that's definitely a football score.
No, it turned out to be a women's basketball score, which that makes more sense.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say I'm looking at like 2002, 2003, and they're playing. They played Miami twice in 2003.
There's, according to UConn's men's basketball, UConn has won twice and they've matched up 2 games. So the first matchup was 76-63. That was in 2008. And then the next one was 2019. It was 80-55. UConn won both games.
Well, guess what? It's due time for a dub for the Canes. Because sorry about the women's, Cavender twins. Shout out to you, big love you sisters. Just sorry you guys lost. It's okay, but the men are gonna bring it home. But UConn, yeah, we want all the smoke on Saturday, all of it. Bring it.
If UConn wins this game, by the way, the UConn blue blood conversation is over. They are 100% a blue blood.
No, they aren't.
What?
3 titles in the last 15 years with 3 different coaches.
Yeah, and nothing before that.
What?
And nothing before that.
No, they would have had another one in 2002. We'll talk about it, but I don't want to spoil my trivia time. So that's fair. Tell me your thoughts on this game.
You can't do it only in the 21st century and be a blue blood.
Yeah, they're not even blue. They're like a navy.
That's still blue.
That's a navy.
They're in the Villanova. They can be in the Villanova like
blue
new blood
category. Yeah.
It's just absolutely insane. Well, they've also had like the craziest run. I think the 2014 tournament was like the last time that the Final Four was as weak as it is in terms of seeding, like average seeding. 2021 was the last one that was the weakest, and that other than this year, this has been the weakest ever. But we'll talk about that in a second. Dal, give me your predictions on this game.
So I would love to pick Miami.
I'd love for you to pick them too.
And I said this before the Texas game, and they won the Texas game. So hopefully we get a repeat because I'm definitely cheering for them. But wait, hold on. Am I spoiling one of your trivia questions?
Probably not.
No, I'm not. So I think UConn is the first team or the third team in history. It was like 99 Duke and 73 UCLA. They're the third team to win their first 4 games in the tournament by over 15 points, which, I mean, like they're just running through teams. So, and it's not that they haven't been tested before, because that can be sometimes be an issue of, you've just completely destroyed teams and haven't had any battle tested. So when you get into a close game, you kind of freeze up a little bit. That's not the case. They've been tested throughout the year. So they're just on so much of a run. Like Gonzaga was one of the hottest teams since the end of January, and they just completely shut them down from the jump. So it's hard for me to see a team being able to kind of throw them off. But if a team's going to do it, it's Jordan Miller, Nigel Pack, and Isaiah Wong. Just that onslaught of scoring from those 3 has the best chance of any to knock them off. So I hope they win, but I think I got to go UConn here just because they're doing so well.
I really do hope they win, and I'll be rooting for them. I think it's going to take a huge game from Norchad Omier because Adama Sanogo is the best front court man in this game, and which is crazy because like last season and earlier in this season, you had UConn fans like just absolutely trolling the heck out of the UConn basketball admin, like Twitter admin, just like why is this guy in the starting lineup? Like he's trash, blah blah blah. Like ends up being he's actually really good at basketball. But It is it is unfortunate, but I do think this is the end of Miami's run here, just because of the juggernaut that UConn has turned into in this tournament. Like you said, winning games by more than 15 points in each of their first 4 games. So we'll see, but it wouldn't surprise me if Miami won, just by the way that they've taken down some teams in this tournament. So definitely could happen. I think we're in for a fun game.
Take? You want to hear a hot take?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Take. If Gonzaga, let's say an alternate universe, if they beat UConn, Miami would have smoked Gonzaga.
I do believe that. Gonzaga's defense was sus all year. That was their weakest part of their game was their defense, and Miami has dudes on offense. So I do believe that. And this is just a matchup where there's a reason that UConn just absolutely stifled Gonzaga's defense or offense, and it's because they have a really stout defense, and Jordan Hawkins has become just a monster for them offensively. So, yeah. All right, well, we talked about these games. Now let's get into a little trivia time, shall we, fellas?
Oh, boy.
First to answer, by all means, go for it if you have the answer. If you don't have the answer, just say, I don't know. I'll let you know. So, do you know the lowest seed to win an NCAA title?
16th.
No, they've never won a title.
I would guess it's an 8 seed.
You think it's an 8 seed?
No, wait. UConn was a 9 when they won, weren't they?
No.
Were they an 8 seed?
The lowest seed to win an NCAA title was 1985 Villanova over number 1 Georgetown. Do you know what seed they were?
12.
No.
I'm going to give one more.
I don't know.
Final guesses?
10.
7.
They were an 8 seed.
You had it,
right. I was right the whole time.
You had it.
You just didn't say it definitely.
Well, no, because I wasn't sure, but...
All right, but bonus question, redemption here, bonus question. What is the lowest seed to make the Final Four, and how many times has it happened? They are all the same seed. I'm going to give you the years. 86, 2006, 2011, 2018, 2021.
Oh, the Final Four?
Yes, the lowest seed. It's all the same number to make the Final Four.
I say a 9 seed.
What do you think, Dowell?
I think it's double digits. I'm trying to remember that 21. Who would have been in 21? Is it an 11 seed?
It is an 11 seed. You had an 86 was LSU, and 2006 was why am I blanking on that team? Oh, George Mason, coached by Jim Larinaga.
Yeah.
2011 was UConn. 2018 was Loyola Marymount, or Loyola Chicago, and then 2021 was UCLA. 11 seed was the lowest seed to make the Final Four, and it's happened 5 times. So statistically, 11 seeds have a greater odds to make the Final Four than a 9 seed. This is the first 9 seed to make.
Again, this goes back to I hate playing the 1 seed, which is why I didn't want to be a 5 seed. And 5 seeds worked out this season actually, but yeah, that 9 seed, 5 seed, 4 seed stuff. I don't know if Jim Larinaga was the coach for that George Mason team though.
He was, and do you know what famous player from that George Mason team? Can you name one guy off that team?
I should be able to.
No Googling.
Which team?
George Mason, 2006, made the Final Four. It was Kim English. Kim English was on that team.
Right.
Who is now, and we'll talk about it in the coaching carousel. Spoilers, so we'll just talk about them later. All right. Question number 2, now that we've done the bonus question, number 1 bonus question. This is the first year ever that 0 number 1 seeded teams have made the Elite 8. Also the first time ever that none of the 1, 2, and 3 seeded teams did not make the Final Four. When was the last time all number 1 seeded teams made the Final Four? So the Final Four consisted of 4 number 1 seed teams. Do you know what year that was?
Was it like in the 2000s era?
It was in the 2000s.
I want to say it was one of those Florida years.
It was
2006.
not one of those 40 years.
2008?
It was 2008.
Come on!
Bonus question,
Yeah.
though. Bonus question, can you name the teams from 2008 Final Four?
Yeah.
I know two of them because I know the championship that year.
Who was it?
That was Kansas-Memphis year, right?
It was Kansas-Memphis.
Who else would that have been? That would have been
Kansas, Memphis, Kentucky, Michigan.
Not Kentucky. That was Billy Gillespie years. We were not in the Final Four.
Was that Russ? Was that Russ? Kevin Love, UCLA?
It was Russ, Kevin Love, UCLA. That's the third team. Can you name the fourth team?
Oh, who would this be? Who would have been in those drafts?
Could have been. No. Michigan? Michigan's a no.
Big White Center, number 50.
Oh, fucking hands, bro. Gross.
Yes. It was. So yeah, it was Kansas,
Ugh.
Memphis, UNC, and UCLA. There. So, all right. FAU is the fourth team in conference history to make the Final Four. They are in the Conference USA. Can you name the other teams that from the Conference USA to make the Final Four? Keep in mind, teams change conferences, so do that with what you will.
All right, so we just talked
I'll give you
about
the years. How about this? I'll give you the years because that's really hard to do.
Okay.
So the
Well, I
years
know
are
one of them before you give years.
Okay, what is it?
Well, because we just said it. Memphis was CUSA, right?
Correct. So that's 2008.
Yep.
2003 and 2005 are the other 2 years.
UAB?
No,
FIU?
not FIU. No.
Marshall?
Nope.
Is Cincinnati one of them?
Cincinnati is not one of them.
Is Charlotte?
You're going to
the
kick yourself
49ers?
when you get the answer of the 2003 one.
Are they good in football?
No.
Oh.
But you definitely know the player that led this 2003 team to the Final Four.
Former CSU or CUSA teams. Would Louisville have been CUSA at that point?
Correct. That is, they were the 2005 team. So Rick Pitino and Louisville took them in 2005 to the Final Four. They were Conference USA at the time. Now you're down to the 2003 team from the Conference USA that took this shooting guard and the now analyst but former Georgia coach.
Oh, it's Marquette. I forgot
Yes.
they were CUSA.
Marquette,
That's the
Dwayne
D-Wade
Wade, 2003 Final Four appearance. Yep.
That is my first. Well, was Patrick Sparks Michigan State? Was that before 03?
That was the year after.
Okay, then the Duke or then the D Wade Marquette like tournament run. That is my legitimate first memory of college basketball.
Pain as college basketball fans. Yes. All right. Last question, trivia time. I already kind of spoiled it, but you have to name the other year. University of Connecticut is the only school to have their men's and women's teams win the national championship in the same year, and they've done it twice. Can you name both years that this happened?
Was it 2009?
Nope.
10?
Nope.
Give me a hint.
Well, I already said the first one, if you could recall back to it. But
14, right?
14 was the other one, not the one that I said, but correct. 14, Shabazz Napier, and then I forget who was on that UConn women's team. They've had so many championships, it's like they run together.
Yeah,
So many women.
Any time the men's team is going to win, the women's team's also going to win because they essentially just won all.
Yeah. They're
years.
batting like crazy right now.
Oh yeah.
The other year was
it 11?
Final
Because
guess?
that was
Final guesses? 11, you say?
10.
10? It was 2002. 2002 and 2014 is the 2 years that they won both titles. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, 2002, 2014. No, not 14, 2012. Excuse me, they were 10 years apart. 2002, 2012. That's what it was. So, all right, that was fun trivia time. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Now it's time for off-season discussions, and we'll get this thing wrapping up. Coaching carousel for the first part. We already mentioned him. He led George Mason along with Jim Larinaga, obviously, as his coach. Kim English is the new Providence head coach. Personally, I think he can maintain the course that Cooley did there. Could be better. He's younger. Seems to have they had a decent tournament run last year or maybe 2 years ago, but they were all around solid. I think he's a solid coach, has a good feel for the game, and it's not like Cooley was knocking down doors as the Providence head coach there, with one Sweet 16 appearance in the last since Rick Barnes was there. So do that with what you will. What do you think, Dal?
Yeah, I like the hire. Cool to see him. I mean, he was at? Where was he before George Mason?
I think he was assistant for Rick Barnes at Tennessee.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like the pick. It's cool to see former professional players. He only played. Looks like he only played for a year for the Pistons, but cool to see former players get a shot at coaching. I like the hire. You could have done a lot worse.
Oh yeah, definitely could have done a lot worse. I still think could potentially be an upgrade for them as far as coaching goes. Like I said, this is not a Ed Cooley diss track or anything. This is just, I think Kim English is a good coach, kind of underrated. USF did not hire Mike Bray. I said that last week on the pod. He apparently accepted the job and then recanted that, did not take the job apparently, which is good if you are a USF Bulls fan, because Mike Bray, it's not like he was recruiting well at Notre Dame. He's definitely not going to recruit any better at Tampa. So at USF.
Pretty fine at Notre Dame.
Not towards the tail end.
I mean,
Starling was the one guy.
He's garbage. Trash. Basura.
Starling is pretty good, and also
No, I'm talking about
now
the coach.
Syracuse Orange, Mike Bray.
he's just not nice from the start.
He was definitely coasting. This wasn't Mike Bray from 2015.
Yeah, I mean, they had Blake Wesley. That's one of their highest
That's fair.
ranked recruits the year before that. I feel like he was just getting one guy a year and kind of calling it up.
Going all in on one guy and not really building the team around them. So I still don't think. I mean, if he was getting one guy each year at Notre Dame, he's not getting that one guy to come to USF. It's not happening with the facilities they have. Which is crazy because USF has almost double the population of Kentucky. Obviously, different scenario because there's prestige to Kentucky in basketball, but just absolutely crazy to think about. Iona, Tobin Anderson from FDU took the Iona job. I think Iona is a better job. I don't know if it's that much better, but we'll see how he'll do.
Yeah, it is.
How well he'll do there. I mean, it is, but it's still a smaller school. He's still going to have some of the issues, but it's not like his SID is junior in college. So there's that. But he seems like an awesome guy. Seems down to earth. And Terry Brown from forget which different podcasts that Terry does. We love Terry on this podcast, though. He is friends with Tobin Anderson's wife on Facebook.
That's
pretty
cool.
legit. So going to be following Tobin Anderson's career pretty closely from here on out.
Have you seen his handles?
No. Oh yes. I know he likes to
sick.
fish too. Yeah, he just seems like an all around cool guy, chill guy. Kind of looks like Tyrion Lannister, and this is not a knock on him. It's just has Tyrion vibes.
He's not the best looking guy in the world.
He's a little hard to look at. Yeah.
Come on.
All right, Notre Dame hired Micah Shrewsbury. This is a weird hire for me. Super connected to the state of Indiana. If you look at his resume as a player, as just assistant coaching, he's really connected to the state of Indiana. I don't think going from Penn State to Notre Dame is that big of a change in terms of the prestige when it comes to basketball. These are both
but if you have roots in Indiana, then I can see why.
I can see why too. I feel like he could have stayed the course at Penn State and waited for another Indiana job to open up. Maybe Matt Painter goes somewhere else. But I don't know. I think he'll do fine at Notre Dame. If anything, it's nice because he's getting out of the Big Ten because it's becoming a fraud conference. Well, it's been a fraud conference, but people are realizing it now.
And joining the ACC is better.
I mean, how many ACC teams are in the Final Four? They're batting 25% there.
All right.
Just kidding. At least, but I don't know what. Like, I feel like the ACC and Big Ten, in terms of actual talent for the teams, they're probably pretty similar. But Big Ten continues to get the advantage when it comes to the tournament and the committee. They continue to just give them as many teams as they want, it seems like, in the tournament. And it always bites them in the butt. But we're not here to have that conversation. So, and then the last one we talked about, Texas hiring Rodney Terry. This is the right move. I don't know if he's going to be the best coach for them, but he has done a phenomenal job this season and deserved to have another shot as a full-time coach there.
He more than earned this hire, even if it doesn't end up working out.
Yeah.
It was definitely the right move. Mm-hmm. I agree.
It is not Ed Orgeron at LSU. It is not that, because Rodney Terry is a class act.
Yeah.
Although I do love me some Coach O.
I mean, Coach O was the right hire there too.
He was, but due diligence, background, there's a lot there that they didn't really do because he was so fun. It was a home state guy, whatever. But either way, I think this is the right hire. This is really fun. We'll see how it goes. Let's move into some portal talk. Biggest names to enter the portal this week. Graham Ike from Wyoming. Dowell, you've watched more than your fair share of Wyoming. What can we expect from Graham Ike? Where do you think he's going?
Well, I didn't watch him any this year because he didn't play. But no, I mean, he's a great rebounder, draws a ton of fouls. He's going to go to some. Actually, I'll be really interested to see where he goes. I was going to say he goes to a high major, but I could see him going a little bit like laterally and staying in like a Big East kind of deal. I know that's better than the Mountain West that Wyoming's in, but I mean, he's someone that can be literally the centerpiece for your offense. Mm-hmm. And he's a little flawed on defense. He's kind of small, not a huge rim protector at center, but he could go and be a serious piece for a contender. So I wouldn't be shocked if he goes somewhere that already has a lot of talent, that he could be a real kind of X factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Keyshawn Gilbert, UNLV, 6'4", 190 sophomore point guard. This guy is a long defensive guard. He can stretch the floor. I think he shot like near 40% on catch and shoot threes. He can put the ball on the floor pretty well. I personally want Kentucky to reach out to him. I think he would be a nice experienced guard that next year's team needs. But there's plenty of other teams that could use him. I'm pretty sure Arkansas is trending pretty hot for Keyshawn Gilbert as well.
Yeah, but Arkansas trending for transfers is like when Arsenal or Man United are rumored for a transfer in soccer, and it's like it's every single player that is available for transfer has been reached out to by Arkansas, Man United, and Arsenal. So
that's fair.
They trend for 20 guys every year.
That's fair. They're not trending for this upcoming guy, Damian Dunn from Temple, 6'5", 195 redshirt sophomore shooting guard. This is the Temple team that's the Houston killer. I mean, this is one of the guys that took down Houston. So he's got some experience there. I think I've read his teammate Khalif Battle is one that is trending really hot for UCF. So I've been keeping an eye out for that. Should be a good pickup for the Knights there. If Damian Dunn follows, that'd be really fun as well. But I doubt that's happened.
Little Philly double dip for UCF.
Yeah. I mean, the kid averaged 15 points a game, so like he can score. We've seen that this season. He's a solid player. One of the bigger names hit the portal this week was Kirk Krisha from Arizona State. It's looking like he's trending towards West Virginia. He said not committed, but he definitely took a visit, did the uniform picture, all that stuff. 6'2", 170 junior combo guard. almost 10 points a game. You had like 40% on catch and shoot threes. Like he is a solid bucket getter. I thought personally, I mean, Sean Miller recruited him to Arizona. I thought he was going to Xavier, but it doesn't seem like that's so much of a lock as people thought it was.
Yeah. I am curious. Do you remember the dude named Pedro that played for Barcelona and then went to Chelsea?
I don't follow soccer
All
enough.
right. Well, he was a Spanish player and like ran kind of like Johnny Depp does as Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
Like he was just like chaos embodied. He never seemed to be fully under control. He was just like running around, kind of like Curbelo was
Yes.
for Illinois. Like that's how I picture Kirk Krissa. He's just like is chaos embodied on the offensive end, but like in a very good way a lot of
Yes.
times.
Yes. Then we have Cario Aquindo from Georgia, 6'4", 220, junior. They have him listed as small forward, guard. I don't think he's a guard. He averaged 12 points a game, like not even a full rebound a game, or not even full assist and 2 rebounds. Kentucky fans are pissing me off with this kid because they're like, oh, we want shooting. But then they're like, this guy shoots like less than 30% from 3. Like he is not a shooter. Stop saying like he's a cat because he lit Kentucky up once. Like that's not happening.
This is the classic. Kentucky fans don't know ball in the slightest.
Yeah.
They continue to claim for, we want modern basketball. We want Cal to be able to like play 4 guys that can shoot, but then they want this hyper athletic dude that all he can do is dunk. It's super fun and would be a blast, but yeah, not.
Let me tell you this: Cario Aquindo is what Chris Livingston will be, except for Chris Livingston will still have a higher ceiling, and Cario Aquindo is a junior. Like junior Chris Livingston is doing everything that Cario Aquindo is doing, but better and can shoot. So
except just like cocking back to his ankles and dunking on someone.
Yes, exactly. All right, Joseph Girard, Syracuse. He is a senior, 6'1", 190 point guard senior, 16 points a game, 3 assists a game. I think he's a solid get for any program. I think he's in the top 10 of players. Like, when they enter the portal, there's a valuation level. According to On3, he's in that top 10. He's the number 2 point guard in the portal right now. Should be a solid player. I don't know where he's going to go, if he's going to stay in the ACC or get out. Would be interesting to see. I feel like he has Wake vibes, though. I don't know.
Wake?
Yeah. No
if
idea.
we get some loser from Syracuse, I'm going to be so sad.
Hey, we talked about Notre Dame earlier. Cormac Ryan, 6'5", 175 redshirt senior shooting guard, 12 points a game. He is entering the draft, but he's also transferring if he comes back. So he's in the portal. This is one that if he comes back, he doesn't stay in the draft. Calipari needs to get him yesterday. This is an experienced guard that you put a bunch of NBA talent around him, he's going to look really good. But you could say that about any guy in the portal at this point. Lazar Stefanovic from Utah, 6'7", 186-pound sophomore. He's a shooting guard, averaged 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Should be a solid get. I don't know if he stays in the Pac-12. I feel like he has Big East written on him. Just give him Big East vibes. Elijah Fisher from Texas Tech, 6'7", 215 freshman, small forward. Didn't do a whole lot this year. What?
Why are we talking about him? He averaged 3 and 2.
Because he was a 5-star last year, so he didn't have the production this year. He didn't have the minutes this year, and also this year was just a train wreck for Texas Tech. So, yeah, he was a highly touted player. Just expect to have some run. Didn't get it this year. Reese Dixon Waters, USC, 6'5", 195 sophomore shooting guard, almost 10 points a game. USC was a tough team this year. I thought they could have used him more. What do you guys think of this kid?
Hold on.
Yeah. 9 points a game? That's not bad. That's more than I could do, man. It's crazy. I don't know who this guy is, to be honest with you. I'm sitting here and I'm like, Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. There's
There's a reason a lot of these
That's
players in
fine.
the portal. These are names that you might not know as well this year, but you'll know very well
Oh
next
yeah.
year.
No. There's one person I know on that. On.
All right, I had to get up to plug my phone in. Reese Dixon Water is actually a really good pickup. He's got size. I'm team fully. Don't recruit anyone in
Under 6'4".
experience under 6'4", 6'5". So
Yeah.
he fits that bill. So I like his game a lot. That
Yeah.
USC team was just fun too to watch.
Yeah, they were. Xavier Wheeler from Kentucky, 5'9", 180 pounds, senior point guard. Had a down year this year, spent a lot of it injured, 7.7 points, 2.3 rebounds, 5.6 assists. There was a lot of controversy around this transfer, but all in all, I like Xavier. I think he's going to be great at the next wherever he goes. This is a grad transfer, so he will get that waiver, so to say, and it should be fine. Excited for him. Excited for the opportunity he gets.
Definitely.
DJ Horn, Arizona State, 6'1", 175, junior point guard, 12 points a game, 3 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game. So solid player. I watched a little bit of Arizona State this year. I don't totally blame him because it's just a crazy program and crazy team, and you don't know what team you're getting, what offense you're getting.
So strange.
I think he's gonna probably transfer. If I had to guess, I feel like I think I saw, like you said, Arkansas is on every list. He's on one of them, but I think I saw Texas Tech on that, which is crazy because they don't even have a coach right now. But we shall see.
Oh, also, I'm looking on 24/7, and Kirk Krissa has 100% crystal ball to Xavier. So
On 3 has it West Virginia, 24/7 has it Xavier. So it's weird, but I still think Xavier is the safer bet there if you had to put money on it.
Yeah.
Khalil Ware, Oregon, 7 foot, 210 freshman center / power forward. Stats weren't amazing, but you're getting Khalil Ware for potential. You're getting him also for his rim protection. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah. I was talking to one of my buddies that is a big Oregon fan, and he and Dana Altman just did not see eye to eye on essentially anything. I think Dana Altman's one of those guys that doesn't really love to play freshmen, and you probably should have played Khalil Ware because he's good.
Yeah.
So he can be a cat for sure, especially if Ugo is going to leave.
Yeah. Also noted, Arkansas, a lot of Arkansas fans are like, oh yeah, he's going to be a hog. That's not true. Apparently after his recruitment, he had texted, this is like, I don't know the full source of this, but this is a lot of leg to this rumor, is that he had texted Muss, was like, I don't want to live in Arkansas. I don't want to go back to Arkansas. That's his home state. So
who would?
Yeah. He doesn't want anything to do with Arkansas. And that apparently is like someone really plugged in said that if Muss were to call, they wouldn't even pick up the phone for him. So
wow.
So he is not going to be a hog, and if he is, you didn't hear it from me. TJ Bamba, Washington State, 6'5", 215-pound junior guard, 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists there. He's entering the draft, but he's also entering the transfer portal. So probably going to stay in the draft, but if he doesn't, it's okay. He's got the portal option.
Yeah, I thought I heard his name mentioned on some like kind of sleeper draft.
Yeah. I mean, helps it with his brother being who his brother is, for sure. And then we have Caleb Love, UNC, 6'4", 200-pound junior guard, averaging almost 17 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Apparently, he messed around with R.J. Davis's girlfriend.
Good.
So I could be wrong there. That's the rumor I heard.
That makes me like him even more.
A lot of issues with this UNC team was just the chemistry issues of teammates sleeping with other teammates' girlfriends.
These men need to get jobs. Armando Bacot, get a job,
Hunter Dickinson needs to get a job, my guy. Oh, my God.
We need a Bacot, Hunter Dickinson. They both just need to go get jobs somewhere. Yes. Come on, y'all.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't like Caleb Love personally.
No, he's bad.
And I am really questioning a lot of people that are Kentucky fans saying he should be a cat because I don't want him.
He could come to Miami.
He could go to Miami.
He could bring all that craziness to it because, Miami will just We'll take that.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh. There's
Hold on.
also
Let
been
me
some.
let me go look up his shooting splits because, like, what are we doing? This man shot 244 threes and shot under 30% from
He's in a
3-point
cold
line.
weather. It's cold.
Get him
He's
out
in
of
North
here.
Carolina.
No, this is gross.
Yeah. I want nothing to do with Caleb Love personally.
No,
All right, and then the last name we'll talk about, Jordan Wright from
no,
Vanderbilt.
this is not the last name we're talking about because you left off one of the biggest
I missed it, maybe.
transfers.
Jordan Wright from Vanderbilt, 6'6", 200-pound senior. He's a guard
good.
/ small forward. This is the one that I want the most, I think, besides Khalil Ware. If
Mostly
I'm
just
Kentucky,
because he can't play against Kentucky if he is on Kentucky, and
that's
he
true.
can't cook Kentucky because that's what he did every
He
time.
is the Chris Livingston replacement, if there is one. This is it. He would be great next to Bradshaw and Khalil Ware and
Why?
DJ and Justin Edwards. So
I don't think Chris Livingston's leaving, but it makes no sense.
there's a lot of rumors flying around. Who is the one I missed out, Dow?
You missed out on Taron Armstrong, who is
That was last week.
Oh, you talked about him?
I might have missed him, but I'm only talking about entries from this week. Portal entries.
Oh, okay. That yeah. Because him and Jameer Nielsen are the two that I would have also added.
Trust me, I would love to get Jameer Nelson Jr. Don't think that's going to happen.
No,
for
probably not.
My favorite team, but could be a night. Just saying.
Nice.
That would be really fun.
Nice.
Jameer Nelson Jr. in Orlando at UCF would be perfect.
I see the vision there.
Yep, it would be perfect.
Come to Miami.
Oh, yeah,
If you're
March
watching
17th
Jameer
this
Nelson
win.
and Jameer Nelson Jr., just come to Miami. Smart choice.
Jameer Nelson Jr., you are a Golden Knight.
You are a Miami
And,
Hurricane.
yeah.
Get Jameer
Also-
Nelson the Nigel Pack NIL
Dale,
deal, and
Dale Miami.
he'll be a exactly. But Tron Armstrong entered on the 17th of March,
Correct.
so last week.
Yeah.
But the leader in assists, he averaged like 15 assists per game or something crazy.
Yeah.
No, this has 5 assists. Why does it say 15?
There were some other ones that I left off. We would just be here talking all night if we mentioned every name in the portal. But by the week, even though there was like another one, Davion Knight from Western Kentucky, he averaged almost 17 points a game. He's
a card.
Yeah. I think what's Nelly? What's his last name? Shoot. From Iona. He's gonna be he's not, there's not prediction there, but then there's the other Iona player, Walter Clayton. He's gonna be a Gator, probably trending that way. So yeah, there's a lot of players in the portal. Obviously, what I'm doing for this segment is I'm going on 3 and 24/7 and kind of seeing what the biggest names are. I look at the top 40 entries and I look at when they were added. And so next week might be lower if there's just less people added, but some big names in the portal specifically today. Like I made this document last night. The last name I entered was DJ Horn. We've added 4 names today. Just alone. So there's going to be a lot.
Fun time.
Yeah. It's almost like free agency in NBA. That's what it feels like. It's just like, oh,
it really is.
Yeah. Super fun. So let's move on to the last call. Max, as you leave, what is something you want to share with our audience?
Man, don't give up on your dream, man. Like, I'm 23 years old. I got about 2 years of eligibility left. Still grinding for that football dream. So don't give up on your dream. Keep going until, you can't no more, or the good Lord tells you can't. And also, don't let anybody, stomp on your dream. I promise you. And if you want your dream to happen, surround yourself by people that are living your dream. I'm telling you. I'm promise you. That's my biggest thing. Don't look 20 years from now and regret that, man, I wish I did this. Go do it. Failure helps you be successful in life. So, yeah.
There you go. Dowell, what's your last call, man?
My last call, I know this week spent a lot of time talking about the men's tournament, but the women's tournament is arguably even more entertaining, especially getting to watch Caitlin Clark absolutely cook.
Oh, my gosh. She was amazing.
40 point triple double. I was watching my roommate, and she went down and hit like Louisville went on a little bit of a run, and then she went down and hit 2 layups. They let her get 2 layups, and we looked at each other and we were like, "Uh-oh, this isn't going to turn out well for them."
No,
Like
no,
you
no.
can't let a scorer go down and get that, and then she just went on a roll.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been watching, you should definitely go watch. Actually, hold on, let me look. Do we
What's her
know
name?
who they're
Caitlin
playing?
Clark?
Are
Caitlin
they not?
Clark,
Are they
yeah.
playing LSU? I thought they were playing LSU.
No, so LSU won, but they play
That
the
was the
winner
game.
of the South Carolina game tonight. Which that's WNBA. Shoot, not WNBA. Give me where is it? There it is. Virginia Tech beat Ohio State. Yeah, so I think they'll play South Carolina.
Man, she looks like a.
Yo, she is a bucket.
She is, dude. That was crazy.
You know who I'm a fan of in the women's? I think she got eliminated though. The Van girl, the girl from Louisville.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, they play South Carolina on Friday. So Friday at 9 p.m. That's much watch TV right there.
Yes. That's gonna be fun. I watched some of that game the other night. That was crazy. So yeah, this has been real. This has been fun. I don't really have a last call other than enjoy the Final Four. Enjoy the last weekend because this is what we got. We have some plans for the off season. We're gonna ramp up our NBA talk more as the college season ends. We're gonna do some player profiles for the draft, and then once the dust settles on the transfer portal, basically in like late June, early July, or July is when we'll start previewing teams, so we have a better idea of what teams look like. But this has been a really fun episode, a really long episode, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I really enjoyed my time with you guys tonight, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening. You can follow on Instagram and TikTok at Beers and Buckets Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Excuse me. Hit the like button and share this episode and leave a review. That'd be great. And then check out the Basketball Podcast Network on Twitter for more shows like this one. This has been the bottom line because Connor said so. You guys have a fantastic week.
Peace.